What happens if we decouple creativity from industry? If we decouple creativity from industry, we are broken. At some point, and I don't know how this happened, someone said art and science were different things. They're the same things. They're solving problems that haven't emerged yet. They're imagining better worlds. They're portraying better worlds. They're the same thing. No one ever told Da Vinci to stop with his inventing the helicopter and crack on with his painting. They were the same thing. The sooner we can unify art and science, creativity and industry, the better. What is climate justice? This is a great question. Climate justice refers to the fact that these are broad terms. The Western northern world that has burnt most of the carbon that's in the atmosphere now, that is going to cause problems for the next 30 years, that's us. And the people that it's going to have the impact on, mostly is not us. We will be impacted, but it's mostly places that are lower lying and less well developed. Climate justice recognises this imbalance in that situation and says it's not fair. And so climate justice drives, it would make perfect sense for the whole world to pay Brazil to not chop down its trees, to have an industry that was just nothing to do with lumber. Will the world do that? I don't know, but it probably needs to. The same with seagrass. Seagrass sequesters more carbon than the rainforests, and yet we're moving it aside for agriculture right now. Right, why is creative courage, I like this one. Why is creative courage so essential in the face of climate and the ecological emergency? Creative bravery, creative wisdom, creative courage is missing in every part of our world right now. It's missing in politics, it's missing in society, it's missing in business, and it's missing in dealing with big scientific challenges like this. Being brave and standing up for what you believe in, that's become a thing of the past. We need to make it really current. So creative courage is the only way through for this. Why don't we have insects on our windscreens anymore? Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm not a fan of Clarkson. I'll be really honest. I'm not a fan of him at all. But he highlighted this thing beautifully on Clarkson's farm. When he drove down the road that him and his dad used to drive down, and their windscreen would be obliterated with insects, and now it isn't. That's true. And the stats are staggering. We've lost 70% of our winged insects in the last 20 years. That's frightening. Why? Why have we done that? There's lots of reasons. Number one, and probably the main reason, the way that we farm, the way that we do agriculture has changed completely. Fewer hedgerows, more chemicals, more monocrops, less biodiversity. All of those things have a knock-on impact on our flying insects. Number two, the way that we poison the world, the level of air pollution, the level of climate change, all of these things are beginning to impact on the way that our smaller animals, the things we don't even see or value, move around the planet. And they're the things that keep us alive. Right, what is the Single-Use Plastic Directive? I like from the general to the specific. Thank you, Bob. This is a good one, this is. So the Single-Use Plastic Directive came in, it's a European Union piece of legislation, came in 2019, and it aims to reduce the amount of plastic put out on the market, single-use plastic. And that's just the start, because its aim really is to transition to a circular economy. And a circular economy means an end to this take, make, use and dispose model, and to turn it circular, so that whatever we harvest from nature or from science, they're the same thing, we then put back and we reuse. So the simplest circular strategy is to keep things circling for longer, keeping things being used for longer. My favourite circular economy strategy. But we might make a circular economy strategy that's really tight, really disposable, low value materials that are recovered and recycled and reused. And that is probably the solution for plastic. Or somewhere in the middle, you might have a refill system, but be careful with refill systems. They can increase the carbon impact of the packaging rather than decrease it, but also reduce the amount of packaging. Crazy, but true. We all move to refillable systems. Heavier containers being shipped around empty and then full makes less sense than very thin plastic crinkly bags. I know, it's weird, but it's the truth. How many plastic clothes hangers get discarded every year? I've no idea. Too many. So I'm going to look into that. But if you notice now, at most retailers, when you go and buy something on a plastic clothes hanger, you get asked if you want to keep it or if you don't. What is green cocking? My good friend who invented this, Claire. And green cocking is this combination, this portmanteau of greenwashing or exaggerating what you've done and peacocking. So you get green cocking. How do you live without plastic? It's really hard, and it will probably put the climate change peril a little bit closer, but we do need to remove the amount of plastic that we use. We need to lower that massively. Have the media let us down? Yeah, and not just on sustainability. The media let us down in everything. What brands are going to disappear? Any brand that doesn't listen. Any brand, and I've been in workshops over the last 2 years. One was brilliant. I'll tell you a bit about it. This is a food brand, and they were talking about embedding sustainability into their purpose. And someone said, I don't think we should. I don't think our customers care about that. And there was an amazing woman in the room who was she was on placement. And I was about to launch into why they should. I didn't need to. My voice is less powerful in that room than hers. And she put her hand up and she went, if you don't, I'll never work for you. Boom. So it's so important for brands to acknowledge where we're headed. I'm not saying to derail an economy. I'm not saying they can't carry on selling and trading, but their entire business models need to change. The raw materials they need to use must change, and the way they do business must change, because they're the answer as well as the problem.